every Moral Monday, they have a theme on why they're out there. That's why you hear me say that it was for different things. Like I've been to 2 of them, and one was it was all for basically the same thing, because all their demands is the same, because you said their demands.
Yeah.
Their demands, end the filibuster, voting rights, the $15 wage. So they're at every one of them, they're always the same. So the one that I recently just went to.
Tell us about your experience. Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
The experience for me was, we came there, it was very organized. They had snacks, they had water, they had volunteers, they had marshals. It was very, very organized. It was very calm. Okay. They was out there for a reason. They started on time and they knew what they were out there for, and they wanted to get it done. They were in concert with the local police as well. Mm-hmm. So the route was marked off. The route was marked off with the police officers. And, you know, they had the marshals, they gave you briefings before, they positioned everybody. And so you have supporters and you got direct action. Right?
It was staged in a way. It was.
No, it was staged. It was staged.
Okay.
So you have direct action. Direct action, people, is civil disobedience. I am volunteering to be arrested.
Now, let me ask you a question. And I know you'll get to this, but I'm just gonna, the arresting for that, as I took it, was because they were blocking a city street.
Right? Exactly. And this is with anything. If nobody knows that you're protesting, why protest?
Absolutely.
You shouldn't be able to live your best life, your regular day, and not know I'm here.
Be impactful. It has to be impactful.
Right? You have to be impactful.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So the thing about it is, so they lined the clergy, because only clergy and low-wage workers was talking that day. Anytime they have a Moral Monday, whatever the theme is, those are the only people talking. So I appreciate that. We had Representative Warnock, Senator Warnock show up, and it was like, hey, the low-wage people, workers, are the only ones that will be speaking.
This is not a political forum. This is for the people. Exactly.
Everything he does, just like at the women's march, that Women's Day, it was only women speaking. He spoke a little bit, but he was like, this is your time. And that's what happened. So then you had to register. If you wanted to do direct action, you actually had to register and volunteer. It's not like it was some sweep that happened.
Tell me, direct action would be to be.
You're getting arrested. You're getting arrested, and not arrested.
Staged.
I'm sorry?
Very staged. Very
right. Not an arrested type. You know, you getting in a paddy wagon.
Right, yeah, not like that at all.
All they did was use the flex cuffs. They warn you 3 times. The police come, they stand behind you, lift you up, or if you're standing there, they say, you know, put your hands behind your back. That's it. They get processed like maybe 5 to 10 feet away. We sit there, we watched as witnesses, and that was it.
Now, let me ask you a lot, because, yeah, interesting. Do you think it helps the cause or hurts the cause for it to be so neatly processed and neatly staged? And what do you think? I mean,
so this is the thing. You got to get people where they're at. Your activism doesn't look like my activism, and my activism didn't. Today was the first time I got arrested. And I've been with Black Lives Matter for a year now. So this is the first time I've been arrested. Okay. And that was by choice. But I have to look at it that I can't choose that for everybody.
Right.
So you can have a situation where things happen and you don't know you're going to get arrested. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. With this, if you're saying, look, I care about this enough to where I'm gonna want to be a supporter, but I can't get arrested. I'm in the military.
Right.
I have to get a security clearance.
Right. 3 little kids at home and I cannot get arrested.
Right. And even though those arrests are not happening, I don't want to chance that. And then if it does happen, they treat white people differently in custody than they do black people. So you may get arrested in one way, but I'll get arrested in a different way. And we've seen that happen today. Trust and believe that happened today. A white woman was treated completely different than I was.
And you're not talking about the past, you're talking about the one that you went to today.
Today, and I was arrested, handled by a black cop. So it wasn't even a white cop. I had white cops asking me, are those too tight? Are you okay? Like, so, but back on to what we went. So they lined us all up to make sure it was 2 by 2 or 4 by 4, depending on what was going on. We marched down, they had chanters, and, we marched. They kept us within where we were supposed to be, the marshals. They was asking people if they want water, blah, blah, blah. We went on the sidewalk and the direct action people went in the street, but it was already blocked off.
Right.
Already blocked off, but it was like, hey, we're going to stand here. Then what happens is they warned them 3 times and that was it. They processed them. They had tables and chairs.
Hang on, one second. What? My husband has a question. What? Okay.
So do you want to
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
That's right.
Okay. Sorry. Start again. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
So what happened was I saw from a lot of the videos and that the people who were being arrested were like in rows in the middle, and then everyone else who did not want to be arrested but wanted to support was on the side.
On the sidewalk. So now you have the marshals that come by and tell you, hey, back up, back up, back up. They're moving the perimeter, back up, back up, back up. Yeah, so it's very coordinated, but you have to get people where they're at. You can't expect everybody. And then you have other people that's like, I don't want to do that. Like today in the Until Freedom one that I went to, it was a guy saying, I don't want to talk to the cops. Why are we allowing them to, you know what I'm saying? This is coordinated. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Want it to be more natural and more
organic, I guess. But I think there's room for everybody's activism. And when we start putting people into silos, well, unless you're going to get arrested,
then you're not a real activist.
Yeah, we don't need you. Or unless, you're going to be completely like quiet. And I mean, it wasn't even like that, but unless you're going to be completely compliant, we don't want you either. You know what I'm saying? There's room for everybody, because when white supremacy comes, they're not asking those questions. Like with your daughter, when white supremacy comes, they're not going to say, are you a black person from here or are you a African? No, they're going to take her to jail too. They're not going to say, hey, did you comply or uncomply? No, they're going to take you to jail or kill you or whatever.
What they want. Right. There's going to be no questions asked. They do what
There's going to be no questions asked.
Right. Yeah. We need
so
all people we can get.
Right. Yeah. So then after the marches, during the marches, they sang, took pictures, and then everybody left. That was it.
Now, was Reverend Barber and the other reverends arrested first, last?
So as far as them being arrested, I know a couple of people I know from Mississippi were arrested. I don't know if Reverend Barber or Jesse Jackson was arrested that day. I know it was 500 people that got arrested.
Was it 500? And let me ask you some more questions, because I don't want to talk your ear off here, but
right.
Did the media cover it as well as it?
Yeah, the media was out there. The media was out there with us today.
Okay.
They're there. That's the thing. When we do direct action or noise demos, and that's a different type of action that I've been to, we tell them, hey, look here, we're going to be there. This is where we're going to be. Yeah. And, they'll either choose to be there or choose not to be there. But we tell them, yeah.
You felt like the People's Campaign Moral Monday, last Moral Monday was covered well enough. Like,
yes, definitely.
there's a lot of people getting arrested.
Yes, yes. And I mean, this is the thing. Martin Luther King was arrested over 30 times. And the fact of the matter is, it wasn't one of these situations where, yes, I'm going to be arrested. It was, I'm going to beat you down, try to kill you. John Lewis, 23 years old, youngest one there, they cracked his skull.
Yep.
They killed a pastor out there. You know what I'm saying? A white pastor. And that's the reason why it was a lot of, again, it's one of those things where, we just had the anniversary of the 3 civil rights workers.
Absolutely.
And if you know anything about it, the only reason why the Black man was even noticed was because it was 2 white men that were killed along with it. Viola Liuzzi, she was white and she was killed. The pastor, I forget what the pastor's name that was out there with John Lewis, and then when they was going over Pettiton Bridge, the bridge that they went over.
Okay.
The Edmund Pettus Bridge, It was a pastor that was actually killed. Like, it was 3 attempts. And so a lot of people, they don't understand that there was one time they went over the bridge and they beat them down. Then the second time, they didn't go across the bridge. And then the third time is when they actually walked across. So there was 3 attempts at that. So
that leads, go ahead. That leads me back to the question. Do you feel like, the staged ones are just as authentic and just as moving and just as, or does it depends?
Yes. You know why? Because all those 500 people, they could have been somewhere else. And of those people that got arrested, they actually flew in. These are not people. I'm not saying outside agitators. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the dedication that what they're doing with these voting rights. We know what happened. 2013, Shelby County. Holder versus Shelby County. The Supreme Court gutted the provision. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they gutted the provisions that actually protect people's voting rights, and they basically made the law in 2015.
Right. It was the OK Corral now. Everybody, because once they did that, Texas did it, because they do that with everything. They want to see who's the canary in the canary in the mine. Texas went out there. It worked for Texas. Of course, Mississippi, who's always wrong at all. Always number one at all the wrong things. Mississippi went after that. Then it was Alabama. So then it was Louisiana. The same thing with abortion. So you may not be in that state, but if your state is a red state and want to do something, they're going to wait for the rest of them to do it. And then they're going to follow the lead. So it may not affect you now, but it's going to affect you.
Absolutely. And I don't think a lot of folks actually understand that the Voting Rights Act was gutted in 2013. When I say gutted, the parts of it that were the gist of the entire law.
Protection against what's going on now, the voter ID laws, the voted purges, the intimidation and stuff like that. Those states had they had to be. I'm pretty sure it's called pre-clearance.
They had to pre-clear it, right? They had to pre-clear it, and they had to get permission to pre-clear it from the federal government,
right?
And it was monitored. Now the onus was on the people after the fact, to prove that their rights were taken, and that is everything. In other words, you can take their civil, human rights, whatever you want,
right?
They have to prove that you did that, rather than make sure that
the burden of proof is on you.
Burden of proof changed.
Right.
Burden of proof changed. And that's absolutely ridiculous. We need that. We need it to be taken back to where it was. Clearly, these states that were crystal clear about it to begin with.
Yes.
They did not, they were the Confederate states.
Yes.
All right, let's just say it. They did not want to allow voting rights for Black people.